There's this place that you can go to where you're working, you're making money, your calendar might even be full, but it still doesn't actually feel like you're building a business. And it's really frustrating because from the outside, it might look like it's working. But here's the part that most people miss. Just because you're getting paid doesn't mean you're building a business. In fact, a lot of people are working a lot and still not building anything that lasts or allows them to live the life that they want. Welcome back to the Family First Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Blake. And over the last 25 plus years, I've not only built my own businesses, but I've helped others to build theirs. And there's one thing that I see a lot. People can start making money, but they're not actually building a business. They're just doing work. And today, I want to help you see the difference so you can start shifting out of that overworked, overwhelmed rat race and into building something that actually supports your life. So there's two sides to this. Doing a service versus building a business. When you're doing a service, you're doing the work. You get paid when you show up. You randomly put services, time to do these services on your calendar. You stop putting these randomly on your calendar and income stops coming in. You have to focus heavily on completing each task. Now, some of these businesses could be, your house cleaning. Someone says, hey, can you clean my house? Sure. Can you be there Thursday? Yeah, I'll be there on Thursday. Or putting some tutoring onto your calendar. There's lots of different service-based businesses. And you can do a service or do a job and not build a business. This is the difference with building a business. You are doing this intentionally. You are intentionally deciding when you can and when you can't book services. You have availability. You are going to book on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between these hours. You will not book on Thursday, regardless if someone asks you or not. That's doing that intentionally. That's part of a business. Building something that works with you or without you. So if you don't answer that text message to schedule that, you don't make money. But if you put a system in place that allows you to do that, that's part of building a business. When you focus on creating something that's repeatable, you have, pricing packages, you have an online booking site, things like that where you don't have to be there, where you have a system that you're building in place. Maybe even hiring someone to help you or creating having an AI assistant that can help you. These are the things that are helping you to build a business because you're doing it intentionally. A service might make you money today, but a business will make you money tomorrow and the day after. So this is the big shift here. It's your mindset, the way you think about this. When you are doing services or doing a job, you're thinking, I just need to get the next client, right? Today is important. I need to get that client. I'll take what I can get when I can get it. If I need to work on Thursday, even though I said I wasn't going to work on Thursday, I'll do it because I need to get that client. I need to work harder. If I just take on more clients, maybe if I expand my hours, I can make more. More clients, more hours. Yes, that's it. That's how I make more money. And you have reactive thinking. You think about things as they happen and you don't plan ahead for them. When you focus on building a business, your mindset shifts into, how do I make this repeatable? How do I make this easier for the next time? How do I stop trading my money for time? And you have intentional thinking. A service provider thinks about the next job that they can book. Business owners think about the next system that they can use to book that next service. I hope that this is all making sense to you right now. I'm hoping that this, sets in and really keys in on you. Now, this doesn't just, I'm talking about services today because this is where I most often see it, but I do want to talk about one client that I had who I was teaching. She wasn't actually a client. She was a student of mine at the local community college. And she had this idea and another idea and another idea for products that she could make, but she never was able to put them into a business. She had this product invention mindset, and she couldn't see beyond the building the business. Because if you're always just trying to create that product and sell that product, you're always a slave to the next sale, how you're always working on it. How do I create this next product? What do I do to perfect this product? What do I do to sell this product? And then you're back to the beginning again. She didn't have a business mindset, and unfortunately, no matter how much I tried to talk to her about this, it just wouldn't set in. She was stuck in that product mindset. And that's the same thing like we're talking about here with that service. If you don't build the systems, focus on who your customer is, make it intentional for the customer, the system, all these other things like protecting your time, then you are not creating a business. So that in mind, let's talk about intentional versus reactive thinking. So in the service mode, where you're reactive, someone asks for you to book that day, you say yes. You build your schedule around other people's needs and not your own. Every job looks different. Oh, you want me to do your dishes. You want me to clean your floors. You want me to do this. You want me to do that. And you do whatever you need to do. Now, I've done this. I was there in my photography business for years. You want me to do pet photos? I'm your girl. You want me to photograph your wedding? I'm your girl. You want to do a mini session for Halloween with your child and I'm your girl. Cake smash? I'm your girl. Newborns? Yep, that's me. I do those too. I was a yes man. Someone asked, I said yes. I did what someone else wanted of me, regardless of what I actually wanted to do. Truthfully, I didn't even look at what I wanted to do. I just looked at what can I do to make money today, tomorrow. Every job looked different. Pricing and scope of work changes constantly when you're in that service mode. If this person wants that and this person wants that, then you do a pricing structure for them and a pricing structure for them. And this person's not willing to pay that much. Okay, let me reduce it for that person because I need that client. You're solving problems as they show up. You're not thinking ahead and about what you need to do. In the reactive state, you're not building a business. You're basically managing a to-do list. Sorry if that felt somewhat like a rant, but maybe it was. In business builder mode, you're intentional. You decide ahead of time what you say yes to and what you will not say yes to. You decide when you schedule your availability and when you do not schedule your availability. You you guide your clients through a process. All right, in order to book, you're going to go to this website. You're going to pick one of those things. You're going to choose your service. You're going to book your time. It's a process that's the same for everybody. You control your pricing structure. You're booking that specific service, that package. It's no longer individualized. It is specific to the package, not the client. And your calendar reflects all of this. You have your bookings of time. You have maybe your office hours of when you do office things. You have, different things. It's not random requests. It's this day I work in this town with these clients. Then I move the next day, this town with these clients. Then the next day is my day off to do day off from providing the services. This is where I work on building my business in the office. A business isn't built by saying yes to everything. It's built by what you say no to and what you intentionally decide to do ahead of time. And I almost just had this emotional moment because a business isn't built by what you say yes to. It's built by what you say no to, was what was going through my head. And over the years, I have realized that more and more. Saying yes to things is just being a service provider. When you say no to specific things and get intentional, like when I rebranded my photography business to work specifically with weddings and personal branding for women and boudoir photography, and I started saying no to all these other things, it empowered me. It allowed me to empower my clients. It allowed me to start growing in a way that I never realized I could grow. Unfortunately, a lot of that changed when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2015. But if I didn't go through that process, I wouldn't be here today to be able to tell you and help all my clients and my customers. I wouldn't be able to help them through this process. But I've been there, and I'm telling you, this is a shift that absolutely changes building a business versus providing a service or selling a product. All right, so now let's go back. Service-based approach. Everything's custom. You don't have specific packages. There's no clear offer. It's what do you want me to do for you? No defined process. No consistency in pricing. Leads come in randomly. However, maybe it's through social media messenger or whatever. But with the business-based approach, it's different. With the business-based approach, you have a clear offer, what you do for who you do it for. You have a defined process, step by step. This is what happens. This is how you book. Then once you book, this is what happens. And you have this process. When you go to clean, I just keep using the cleaning the house as an example. So you book your cleaning, then on the day of the cleaning, I would get all my stuff together, go in my car, I drive to the first client, I do this, then I do that, then I do this, then I do that, then I pack everything back out into my car, I go to the next one, and it's a process. And you do the same thing through each house. You do the same thing for each client. And then you're going to actually have simple marketing. It's not just people come to you randomly. It's maybe you use a website like Koala and everyone books on there. And all you have to do is send people to that. You do maybe a Facebook marketplace, next door. You get on the, Craigslist, whatever it is, classified ads, and everyone goes to your site through Koala and they book you. That's repeatable. That's easy. That's a system. All of these things are repeatable and intentional. If every client feels different, you're doing a service, right? If the client follows the path that's the repeatable system, then you're building a business. And I know you might be thinking, well, if everyone is exactly the same, isn't that going to get monotonous? And sometimes it does. But I'm telling you, that's how you create a business that you can scale. Now, when you put in these systems and the repeatable systems and you start building that business, income feels more consistent. It might take a little time to start building up that system, but you can create a consistent income. When you're doing a service-based business, you hit a ceiling quickly, like you're stuck because you're trying to do everything all the time. When you put the business mindset in and you put in those systems, you're doing all the work. You're not booking everybody. You're having a website do it. You have it, everything takes you less time. So instead of cleaning somebody's house in 2 hours, you're doing it in an hour and 15 because you have a system in place that you keep repeating. When you're doing a service, you're always on. Like you have to, answer, you have to book, you have to do this. When you are a business, when you're on, you're on, and when you're off, you're off. That's your time. That's building a business around your life, not living inside the business. With the service, you're feeling busy, but you're not growing. With the business, you might still be busy, but you're growing. In the service-based businesses, you step away and everything stops. You go on vacation for a week and you get all your clients done for the week before you go on vacation. You go on vacation for a week, you come back, you don't have any clients for the next week because you weren't working. But when you use a system, then you come back and you jump back into work again. Those people are already booked for the week when you come back. You don't have a gap week. I say those things because I want you to look in the mirror and look at it like, am I doing these things? Do I feel these things? Am I building a business or am I just performing services? You don't need to stop what you're doing. You just need to start building around it. And I'm not saying you need to add on things, although you do. But by adding on things, you're actually taking stuff off your plate for the long term. Adding on, building the systems or creating the systems is going to save you time, frustration, mental load, all of those things for the future. These simple shifts happen when you start doing this, when you start building around what you're already doing. You start taking what you've been doing for people and turning them into a clear offer. You start creating that repeatable process. You start deciding who your ideal customer is. Am I cleaning homes for everybody? Am I going to shift to just cleaning short-term rentals? Am I going to shift so I'm only working with clients whose homes are certain square footage or above? Do I cater specifically to clients who have pets and need someone who can take care of all the cleaning needs that are associated around a pet? Because it's a lot more work to clean your house when there's animal hair and everything flying around. Or what if the cleaner doesn't like pets? Or they might need someone who specifically loves big dogs and is willing to go clean their house while their big dog is there. Right? So you start thinking about who your customer is and the process that you take them through. And you start thinking about the systems, not the tasks. The intentional decisions turn into your systems. And those systems are what turn a service into a business. Now, eventually, if you want, now that you have these systems in place and these processes in place, you turn them into what's called an SOP, a standard operating procedure. And then you can hire people and you have that SOP in order to give them and show them this is how it works. And now you're able to scale your business. And if you want to stop doing the service, you can. If you want to keep doing the service, you can. That's up to you. But this is what allows your business to get bigger. You don't become a business owner just because you make money. You become one when you start building a business that doesn't rely on you for every single step. Whether that's the systems that are on the computer, such as the booking Koala. I've researched that and I really think it's a great system. A service fills your calendar. A business builds your future. I'll see you next week on the Family First Entrepreneur Podcast. And if you've been thinking about creating a service-based business, check out this next video.